Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket, excellent.
An asymmetrical turn. Dropping and sinking up.
Notice how the...
So just notice. Joining us for the second episode of next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Namaste Yoga. I'm here on location on Lake Ontario here. This is just a short bike ride from our house. And thanks to all of you who have donated to Namaste Yoga, we were able to purchase a new sound system, microphone system that allows us to do on-location shots a little bit more and be a lot more mobile with our shots. So thank you so much for that. This is the first in a new 4-part series on yoga and Ayurveda, and I want to give props to Dr. David Frawley. I'm drawing heavily from his work for this series, especially in his book called Yoga and Ayurveda, Self-Healing and Self-Realization. So for today's practice, you're going to need a block. If you don't have a block, not to worry, you could probably prop with some cushions and things like that, or do legs up the wall instead of what we're going to be using the block for. I'll be sure to cue that then. So I'm going to ask you to start seated today. I'm going to do a general overview of the 3 doshas. Ayurvedic medicine is a system of medicine. It's kind of like the sister system of medicine to yoga. It's over 5,000 years old. And the whole idea around it, and the reason why I love it, is that it's a holistic medicine. And the idea is that we're going to balance our internal bodies, mind, spirit, emotions, with our external environment so we can live in harmony. And so this approach really appeals to me. Within the Ayurvedic medicine, there is a system of constitutions. There are 3 different constitutions: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And we tend to be a combination of two doshas. Maybe even one can get a little more out of balance at a time. And but generally all 3 are present at all times. So I want you, as you're sitting here, to close your eyes, and I'm going to read a little bit from Dr. David Frawley's book, Yoga and Ayurveda, and I want you to just notice what you identify with most, which constitution you identify with most. So let's start with Vata. Vata is the most important constitution. It's the one that most easily gets out of balance. There's the most movement in that one because it's associated with air. Vata literally means wind, and so it's the one that causes movement within the other doshas as well. So we'll start with Vata. Vata types are generally slight in build, with small bones and thin frames. They have a great deal of flexibility and agility when young, but lack energy and stamina. They easily develop stiffness and rigidity as they age. Vata rules over the bones, so Vata types suffer most from arthritis, particularly after the age of 50. They tend to be cold, with dry skin and cracking joints, along with poor circulation. Vata types are nervous and fearful. They commonly adapt to a protective posture with raised shoulders and a hunched back. They're also prone to scoliosis. Pitta types have medium or average builds. They're neither too tall or too short in height, neither too heavy nor too thin in weight. They usually possess a good musculature and flexibility owing to their good circulation and the oily quality of Pitta that lubricates joints. When they dedicate themselves to asana practice, Pittas become quite good at it. Still, they may lack the ability of long-boned Vata types to do certain postures. They can also make their joints too loose from excessive practice, which creates problems just as significant as too much stiffness in the joints. Psychologically, Pittas are aggressive and like to excel and shine at what they do. They may take their high achievement mentality into asana practice where it's not appropriate. Pitta people are often ambitious, irritable, or driven. And so we want to do postures that cool the pitta types. Kapha types possess stocky builds and hold weight easily. They are generally shorter than average in height, but sometimes they're tall. Their frame, however, is always bulky with short bones and generally poor flexibility. So kaphas shouldn't force themselves into postures which aren't appropriate for their joint movement, or they can get hurt. Kapha people should not imagine themselves as tall, skinny yogis. That is not their body type, and it is not possible for them to maintain that build, even if they should be able to achieve it temporarily. So overweight tends to be a result of the kapha constitution. It results in the accumulation of fat, particularly in the stomach and the thighs. Kapha types tend to be sedentary and seldom are physically active unless stimulated or prodded to do so. So the thing about kapha people, though, they are like the most loving, loyal people in the world, and I just adore kaphas. So sit with that and see which one sits with you best. I tend to be Vata, Pitta combination. Sometimes one of those gets out of balance for me. But I'm married to, luckily, a kapha constitution, and he helps to keep things in balance and check and holds things together. So just notice what that's like for you and which one stands out for you. And then begin to create an intention for your practice today. And it may be tied to the constitution. So, for example, Vata people tend to get kind of stressed out and anxious. So if that's your constitution, your intention might be to cool things down a bit. Pittas tend to be overheated, overdoing, so they may need to back off a bit. But if you're a kapha constitution, you may want to set an intention around really going for it and getting some movement happening and heat in your body in this practice. So once you have your intention, I'm going to invite you to lie down on your back. On your back, draw your right knee into your chest. We're starting with the Vata constitution, and the main site for Vata is the large intestine, so we're doing this pose for the large intestine. Release the right leg out of the posture. And notice what's happening now. Bring the left knee into the chest. And release the left leg away from the body. From here, bend both knees and place the feet flat on the ground. Cross the right leg over the left knee and draw the left knee into the chest, reaching through, holding on the hamstrings or the shin. And the reason we're doing this posture is to access the site of the hips, which is an important place for Vatas to focus on when they do yoga. Release the right leg, uncross it from the left, and then cross the left leg over the right leg. Draw the right knee into the chest. So as you hold this side, ask yourself how you're feeling today. Release your leg and place both feet flat on the ground, hands by the side of the body. We're going to do a gentle back bend here. And this is a great pose for Vata because it's a gentle back bend. Vatas don't need really big back bends. They can be too upsetting for their nervous system. But a gentle back bend is nice, and also because bridge pose with the feet on the ground, it's very rooting. So press the feet into the ground, curl the tail under, and lift the pelvis off the ground for a nice, gentle and rooting back bend. And then slowly lower yourself down. Roll to your side and come up to a seated kneeling position. So if kneeling's not possible, you can always use the block is great. You can sit kneeling with the block between your legs. That can be a really nice way to do it. You can tuck some blankets and things underneath the knees, or you can come to sit in a chair. So Vatas really benefit from a lot of sitting and grounding and calming and slowing the breath. So let's just sit together for a few breaths, breathing nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You could even imagine a root system coming from your tailbone and reaching deep down into the earth.